everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel Super Cute Creations. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Um, I know many of you are probably preparing for your Thanksgiving feast tomorrow, but I'm working in my Etsy office all day, and I decided it was time to do a little creating. And it's been a long time since I have done my jelly print papers and my painty papers, and I definitely need some back in my shop, but also just back in my my own crafting area. So I'm going to hopefully stop the glare on this glass here. I'll put this little piece of, apologize here. So this glass mat is wonderful, but it likes to shine on my, so this is just a jelly plate. I guess it doesn't matter. It's shining off of here too, isn't it? Let's see here. And if you're popping in, please say hello. I'd love to talk with you and chit chat while we're playing along here. So for those of you who have never jelly printed before, we're not only going to jelly print, but we're also going to make painty papers. And I'm going to show you how to do this with a jelly plate because I know a lot of crafters do not have these. So this is just, and you can make your own. I've never actually made my own jelly plate, but you can actually do that. You need a brayer. I'm using just some tin foil. That I'm going to brayer on. So I'm going to put my paint on here, and I'll actually use my brayer on here. I've used a couple different brayers. I've had some complications with a little of both. I have two. I have this one, and then I also have this Recollections one. And some days I can do this one, and other days I can't. So we'll use both of those. Just going to adjust the camera a little bit here. Sorry about that. Okay. So I'd love to know who's in the house tonight. Please say hello over on the right-hand side, if you would, please. And I'm going to start with some purple paint. Now, I am using just paint, and what you do want to do is make sure that you pull any of these crusty pieces out. And you can do a couple of things. You can brayer it on here, or you can put the paint directly on your jelly plate. And I really probably should have done that first. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off. All right, so I'm putting some of this purple paint on there, and this is Wild Orchid. I'm going to add a little bit of this Lilac Mist. Hello, how are you, Michelle? Thank you for joining tonight, and thank you for saying hello. That way I'm not just feeling like I'm talking to myself. Hope everybody is enjoying their evening. And the other thing I like to do is I like to make sure that I leave another piece of paper kind of over here as well. And that will kind of mop up any of my extra paint. And then I'm going to take and add some of this prune, it's called. And you can use any type of paint, but see how there's these crusty things? What you don't want is any of that dried paint to get in your jelly plate, because that's going to cause a problem when you go to print. So I'm always careful about pulling those up. And you can see this paint's old. This is a great project for using old paint. Whoops, I didn't mean to get that much on there, but I guess we're going to. It is a great project to use old paint up. I'm going to grab just a little bit of this paint, and I'm going to put it over here because there's definitely way, way, way too much paint. See how this is old and it gets this little skin on there? You don't want that on your jelly plate, so you just pull that out and be prepared to get a little bit messy. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start spreading this on our jelly plate. And it's kind of mixing. I'm going to kind of just try not to mix it too much. All right, and now I'm going to just take some paper, and we're going to do lots of layers. So I always recommend, be prepared to do lots of layers. This is just regular copy paper, and I kind of fold it in a little bit. So I start with my center, and then I lay it out. And I'm just going to kind of gently rub it, and we're going to pull our first impression off. So this is our first piece. We're going to lay that somewhere to dry. I'm going to take my brayer, and I'm just going to go over this again, using up the rest of that paint. And at this point, it's really kind of getting muddy or mixing together. I'm okay with that because we're going to do lots and lots of layers. Hi, everybody. Welcome. And then if you pull it on an angle, you'll get the print. Now, on this one, we're almost dry right here. The paint will start to, new to jelly printing, looking for ideas. All right, perfect. So it's almost dry when I pull that second print. Now you can print on just about anything. You can print on junk mail. You can print on envelopes. You can print on book pages. We're going to do some book pages. You can print on anything that's paper based. So I'm just going to add a couple little dots on here. And not only, I'm going to show you some other ways also without a jelly paint press. Isn't that pretty? Look at how pretty that is. Now, I am not an expert by any means, but I go both ways so that I can get some texture. And I know that there's spaces that are open there. I'm okay with that because what I'm going to do, and I'm just rubbing my extra paint off, what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this down. And I can get 2 small book pages on my large jelly plate. Look at how pretty that is. And then I can also pick up paint and see how it's pulling some of that purple out. I'm okay with that. It's creating another dimension. And you can just pull paint up. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to pull this one back. Look at how beautiful that is. And we'll go back over these and we'll add more things. So there's not a lot of paint here. So I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to pull up the paint that's on my edges. And we're going to set that over to dry. Now, see here, some of the purple came out, and that's okay. I'm just going to pull that out, and we have this little bit of purple there. So what types of things have you done, Michelle? How have you done your jelly printing? Have you done any jelly printing at all? And for those of you who are out there, I would love to see what you guys have. All right, we're going to do some stenciling now. So I still have a little bit of purple in there. I'm okay with that. Just going to bring in my blue, and I'm just going to do a solid color this time, except that it has a little bit of the mixed purple in it. And I'm being light-handed with it to try not to get streaks. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a stencil over this. So, oops, I have this stencil, and I'm just going to lay it over, just like that. And I'm going to take this purple one that we just did that's dry, and we're going to lay it right on top. And here's how we start to add that dimension. Very basic. You love metallics. I love metallics too. So I'm just rubbing that, making sure. All right. And so isn't that beautiful? All right. So now what we have is I'm going to pull up the stencil. And we now have this to stencil onto something else. But before we do that, I'm going to take up my mop-up page. We're going to set this to the side for just a minute here. I'm going to take my mop-up page. Let's do a different one. And I'm going to try to pull up any paint I can off the stencil. Oh, I wondered why that felt so thick. And there's not going to be a lot. What you're going to get is a ghost. And a ghost print is a very light print. So you might hear other artists saying, oh, I ghost printed. And see what a ghost print is? It's very light ink on there. But it does create a whole nother texture. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let this dry just a little bit because I want to pull that imprint off just as it is. But I want to show those of you who are out there how you can also create your own print. So I'm cleaning my brayer off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a plastic, if I can find one in my drawer here. What I have is a plastic old gift card. Save these. These things are gold for crafters. All right, and I'm going to grab some paint. We're going to grab some of this. This is just apple barrel paint. You can get apple barrel at Walmart, other places. And I'm going to cut this off. I have a painter, and so a lot of times I don't open it. On this end, I just open up the lid, unscrew the lid. But when you're doing this, you do want to. All right. So I'm going to put some of that Laguna right there. I'm also going to grab a little bit of white. So I'm going to grab just a little tiny bit of white. We're going to add that to our, and I'm right at the end. I'm trying to use up this white, so I apologize for the noise. And I want to add some metallic. So I have some of this beautiful Artist Loft metallic purple. So we're going to add a little bit of that. Whoops. Okay. And so this is the fun part. So you're going to grab your card, and what I do is I kind of go left and right, and I get it on both sides like this. And then all I'm going to do is press that down. And we're just going to get some paint on our paper. And you can go, see how it's creating sort of a marbled effect? Look at that. All I'm doing is using the paint. I'm pushing down flat, and then I'm pulling up. And when I pull up, it creates that marble effect, and you scrape off any of your excess paint. It creates what looks like something that's very similar to a jelly print. Now, if you keep doing it too much, you're going to get a color that's mixed. You're not going to get that marbled look. Okay. So I'm going to take the rest of this paint. I'm going to wipe it off on so I'm going to do it one more time and show you. All right. So I'm grabbing my two colors. So I'm at a 50-50 ratio. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab a little bit of purple on the end. Just going to dip in this purple. Okay. I'm going to press down. And then I'm going to scrape over it again. And that gives you that marbled effect. And you can do this with anything that is sort of a hard plastic. But you want to make sure you scrape it off. You don't want it to be heavy-handed, because if you do that, so I'm just coming in and I'm just scraping it down, because what I'm doing is just creating a faux jelly print. Okay, so I want to show you. This is my faux one. Whoops. This was the original one that I did on my jelly print. Jelly plate, sorry. See how similar they are? Look at all the beautiful texture. So we're going to set that one to dry. And we're going to do another one. I want to use up my paint. I never like to waste paint. So for those of you who are painters, I always keep paper next to me when I'm painting because I refuse to waste paint. I do not want to throw paint away, so I make my painty papers. All right, so I'm just pulling that paint, creating a very thin layer, and you can see it's starting to mix down here. I'm going to grab it again. I'm going to come up here, and we're just going to start pushing and pulling. Pushing and pulling. This is so fun. You can do this with your kids. You can do this with your grandkids. You can do this with just about anybody. Everybody's quiet tonight. I must be boring you all to death. I would love for you to appreciate each and every one of you watching. Some of you I have not seen in a while, so I appreciate you popping in here. And I also want to let you all know that I'm going to be having another live sale. Isn't that gorgeous? Another live sale on my channel next weekend. And so please stay tuned to my channel because I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff this weekend. My Etsy store has all kinds of brand new stuff in it. We got kind of a lot going on. And I want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to see us at our live sale. My friend Diane is going to be here, and she's going to be selling all kinds of fun, crafty things. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just putting some of this bright pink, Diva Pink. And let's see, what other color do I want to do? Let's do some orange. Pink and orange look amazing together. And I have this little bit, a hint of blue in there. So we're going to just add just a little bit of orange. I don't want a lot, but just a little bit. And we're going to create sort of a, you like that technique, Michelle? I love it. Okay. Now, you do not want to press too hard when you have this imprint down, because what you're going to do is you're going to use this wet paint to pull up your project, your stencil. Okay, and so now I'm going to put some orange in the corners, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm just putting some orange in, coming across here. All right, and then I'm going to add a little bit more of that bright pink because I want it to really show up. So this one's going to be really bright. Okay, you guys ready? Now, not all of your prints are going to work, and you're going to get some that you don't like. That's fine. You just layer over them again. Okay, so I'm going ahead and putting it down. I'm going to rub this really well, and I'm actually going to use my brayer because I want to pull up that stencil that we left. All right, are you ready? Isn't that beautiful? And it didn't pull everything up. I'm okay with that because I can come in and I can add this to another piece. So that piece we were just working on, I'm going to try to add, we're going to now create our next level of dimension. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And we've not done any stamping on these yet. We've not done anything. Look at that. Oh, love it. And it gave kind of a ghost print, but it's given a very pretty texture behind there. All right, we're going to do some more pink, maybe. And what we're going to do is an ombre. Show you guys how to do that. So, all right. This one is Pink Parfait. And then what I want to use is a very light pink down here. And this one is called Light Pink. How creative. All right, so we're going to do a pink ombre. So I'm going to start with my darkest color first. And I'm going to make sure that I get all of my Gelli plate. And now I'm going to come down here and get my medium pink. And look at how much I just slopped all over the side here. Ugh, I'm a mess. All right. And now I'm going to pick up this light pink. And it's mixing because of my sprayer. And I am a little heavy-handed with the paint. So those of you that are screaming at me saying, you know, you don't picture that's on here. So I'm going to just brayer over this. And this is going to be another one that we're going to build on. And all right. So we're going to let that go. I'm going to grab a piece of this paper. Once again, just copy paper. And I'm not going to push down real hard because I'm going to try to do 2 pulls from this because there's a lot of paint on there. So I'm softly doing that. So here's my first one, and it has lines in it. Oops, sorry. But I'm okay. I like that. And now I still have an opportunity to do another pull. Okay, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to do another pull. Now, sometimes you'll keep your papers as a single pull paper, and that's totally fine. Now, look. See how some of that stencil's coming up on here? Your dirty plate will pull up some other things, but that's fine. It creates texture. So here was the first pull. Here was the second pull. Both pulls are very pretty. All right. And I have all kinds of paint slopped down the sides. I told you guys I'm messy. Messy, messy, messy. All right, let me get this up here. And we're going to grab this pink that I had too much of. And we're just going to do just something fun on here. I like sort of the transparent look when I do pulls. A lot of people out there, you'll see them really glob the paint on. I put so many layers that I don't worry about that. So I'm grabbing just my book pages, and these are just from an old Reader's Digest. And this is light, but I'm okay with it. It's a great base. Okay, so I'm going to set my Gelli plate to the side for a minute, and we're going to do some more playing with just our gift card. because I want to show you a couple other techniques. I'm just using a baby wipe to clean up my glass mat. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm going to overlap a couple of book pages. Oh no, this paper is going to, oh, it didn't tear. Thank goodness. Okay. The one thing you do have to do if you are going to be doing jelly printing, you need some room to lay out your papers. That's probably the most frustrating part is it gets so fun and you get so excited about doing this and pretty soon you start running out of room. All right, so I have some of this yellow that is almost to the end and I need to use it up. So what other color do we want to do with yellow? I'm going to let you guys pick. And Michelle, since you're the only one who is talking tonight, if you wouldn't mind telling me what other color. Or anybody who's on, what other color would you like to see with yellow? This is some cheap acrylic light green paint from the Dollar Tree. It's very thin, but it works well for techniques like this. All right. Nope, that's okay. Let's do some blue. Let's do some blue. Let's do some, I like blues and pinks too. You know what? I love this color. It's Tuscan teal. And I think it would look great with some yellow. So we're going to do that. And we're going to add little hints of green in it. Okay. So I'm going to grab my card. And I'm going to do that 50-50. But this time I'm going to go. And I'm going to just take one stripe down. And then I'm going to take my card from the bottom and I'm going to pull up. If I just flip it, I'm going to end up with the yellow on the blue. So I'm going to go the same way, but I'm going to pull up. So it looks like I've created a full stripe. Okay. Ready to see that? All right. Now I'm going to take the same thing. I got my blue, I got my yellow, and I'm going to put my blue on my yellow. I'm sorry, my blue on my blue. And I'm going to pull my yellow, and I didn't get much on there, so we're going to try that again. All right. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab my blue, and I'm going to grab my yellow. I'm going to put my yellow on my yellow, and I'm going to pull again in just a stripe. Okay. Coming back up, I'm going to pull upwards. There was not much paint on there. All right, so we've now created sort of this stripe. We're gonna let that dry just a little bit. We're gonna grab another piece of paper, and this time I'm gonna do an X. So I'm gonna go X, X, and across. And we're just going to continue to create this. This is going to create more of an abstract. So and this paper is, you know, it's giving us a little different look because it's a book page. But I still like it. I still like the colors. I still like the pattern. Okay, so we're going to, and now I'm going to take my card and I'm going to pull all that excess paint off because I want this to dry quickly. Right, we're going to set that one to the side and I'm going to grab some white paper so you can see what it looks like when we do this on white. Oops. And I'm scraping up all the paint I can. And we all know that blue and yellow makes green. So the closer you get to the bottom or the end of your paint, green, and bring a whole new color into our color palette. Okay, so now we're going to play with just some black and white. Okay, pull this up so it doesn't stick. All right, so I'm scraping all that excess paint off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my stencil again. And I'm laying it over top. Oh, okay. Thank you, Michelle, for coming. I appreciate you coming. And what I'm going to do is I am going to makeup sponge. So give me just 1 second. Hopefully I can find one fairly quickly. Let's see. What did I do with those makeup sponges? I just had them out the other day. Well, you know what? I'll just grab a sponge. Okay. For the sake of time, I'll just grab a sponge. But I normally use a makeup sponge because I like the control that I have. But you can use anything you want. Right, so a lot of paint. That's another mistake a lot of people make. They put too much paint when they're doing stenciling. You should have very little paint. And you can do it a couple different ways. You can pounce or you can rub. So I'm going to rub very lightly because I don't want this to be really dark. And I want some spots to be darker than others because that gives it contrast. And the great thing about stenciling is you can always go back over areas that you wanted to be darker. Oops, there I go, moving my stencil. And you can be as particular with this as you want. I'm just going quickly because we're on camera and I don't want you guys to be completely bored with everything I'm doing here. Hey, Diane, thanks for joining. Doing some painty papers. You can use a sponge, you can use your finger, you can use pretty much anything with your stencil, okay? And see, I'm going to pull that up. So doesn't that look like a jelly printed print? I mean, here was our jelly print. Oops, here was our jelly print. And look, here's the one I just did with just a credit card and a stencil. So you can still make these gorgeous, gorgeous papers with things that you have at home. Now, before I move on, I'm going to lay this back down because I want some color down here. Some of this white. There we go. Oh, let's do a little bit over here too. So we're just playing around with paper and paint tonight. Diane, I have been spent all day in the Etsy shop and I just wanted to create today. So I jumped on. So everybody who's in here, my friend Diane, she's going to be one of the, she's going to be with me next week as we start our live sale. And so maybe when she gets a second, maybe she'll put the information to our live sale in the feed for us. Okay, so here's another technique that you can use with just white paper paint and your credit card. Okay, ready? So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're just making hashtags. And you don't have to do it in threes. I just do it in threes because I like that look. So here we are just adding another layer to our Painty papers. And they can go off the page. They don't all have to be on the page. Just like that. So we've just created a really cool piece. Now, the other thing you can do, take the backs of things. So I could take the back of this brush and I could make dots. Oops. Think about things that you have at home to add texture to your Painty papers or to your Gelli prints. For those of you who are jumping on, I always forget, if you would please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. If you would please share it with somebody who you might think might like it. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell down below so that you can get notifications every time I go live. Would greatly appreciate that. All right, so we're going to let this one set to the side, but it's going to need some black and some other stenciling and some other things, but we're going to let that dry. Let's pull over this one. And for this one, I'm going to use some chicken wire. And I'm just going to add some chicken wire stencil. And we're not going to worry about where it is or how we place it. We're just going to get it on there because we're still going to do some more Gelli printing and some more pulls on here. We're just adding another layer. And that's the great thing about these Painty papers, okay? So I don't love this one. I'm not a fan of this one at all, but we're going to come back and we're going to add some more to it once it dries. All right. I want to do something over this one. So this one was not a Gelli print. This was one that we did with a credit card. And I want to pull out my Gelli mat again. So we're going to lay that down here. And I think we need to do some playing. So here's the other thing you can do. All I did is take some cardboard and I put some hot glue dots on it so that I can pull up dots. And here is another piece that you can make some designs in. So we're going to play with these designs a little bit. So I have the teal, I have the purple. I think we're going to add a little bit of this blue. So this is called cobalt blue. Goodness, I cannot talk. Oh no, I don't want that on there. All right. Add a little bit of this. Probably get too much. Ooh. All right. Use my brayer. It also has some pink on it, but I'm okay with that. We're just going to get this on here. And I'm going to show you how we're going to, just by using cardboard. Now, you have to be very careful with this because, see, I'm running out of room already, you guys. Ah! Okay. All right. You have to be careful because you don't want to cut your mat. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some little squiggle lines. Just like that. Okay. We're going to take that and we are going to put that over. Actually, I want to put it over this one. I'm going to put it over this one. Remember, this one already had some texture. So we're going to lay this right over top. And I'm lightly pressing it because I'm going to get, look at that. Is that not beautiful? I love it. And we can pull out of this Put this down. Thank you for the channel. Yeah. Diane, if you just put the date and time in there for me. Look at that one, you guys. Oh, they are both gorgeous. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? All right, I want to do that same technique again. I love that technique. Let's see, what color haven't we used? We have not used any red today. Let's use some red. Let's use some red. All right. So I do still have some blue on there. I'm okay with that. We're going to just go ahead and we're going to get this red down. Just like this. All right. I'm going to use my same tool we just used, but I'm going to go this way. Oops. All right. So we're going to grab that. Yep, we're going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Saturday, which I believe is December 5th. We're going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are going to have an amazing sale. We're going to be on for a few hours. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And look at the blue. It's hard to see, but the blue is underneath it going the other way. All right, so I'm going to take, since there's some red left, and I'm going to put it over this pink, or put this pink down and see if I can pull up some of this red because it's the same color family. Oops, sorry. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're just going to kind of make a Mod Podge here. I want to get this white up because I don't want to waste paint. It's already starting to dry. I'm going to get some of this white on here. Just pull this up here. All right. So what I'm doing, a lot of times white paint will pull up. I know it's hard to see. It will pull up any of the ghost that's left. And I'm not sure why that is, but it seems like the white seems to be the one that will pull everything up for you. So if you want it off, that's the way to go. All right. So let's do some green now. All right, so this is a holiday green, and I'm going to add some of this bright yellow or green. Woo, I don't know my colors today, you guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this green down because we're getting close to Christmas, and I think some of you might want to do some fun things. All right, so we're going to get... First thing I'm going to do is just try to get a pull off of this. We're going to do one pull first. Lightly. That's what I got. Now I'm going to do a second pull. And then we're going to do another print over this ghost print. So this is considered a ghost print. And it's very light on the back. But now I want to do something darker. So I'm grabbing some metallic paint. This is green. It's by Deco Art. And it's extremely metallic. And I'm also getting ickies on my mat here. I'll grab a little bit of this metallic paint. All right. And we're going to brayer that along with this lighter stuff. And we're going to create some polka dots. We're going to create some polka dots. And I'm mixing because I want it to be a little more liquidy, but we're going to play around with what this is going to look like. My brayer is acting up. Okay, so there's some red still on here. I'm just going to add a little bit of it just to give it some texture. Okay, and now I'm going to take this. Now, when you do this, I highly recommend that you have another sheet of paper that you can stamp off on. So, just move this. So I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to stamp onto here, and I'm going to stamp onto there. And I know you can't see it very well. All right. We're going to do a quick pull. And you can't really see, it's hard to see it up close, but it does have some texture, but it doesn't have the other one. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this stamp and we're going to pull up on this stamp and see if we can create a little bit better pattern. Oops, when we do this ghost. And I'm just using a regular rubber stamp. Let's see what happens when we put this one down. Let's do it right on here. See that? And you can play all day long with these. I mean, this is so addicting. I could literally just do this for hours and hours and hours. If I had a room where I could lay all this stuff out, I would totally do that. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, how do you clean this jelly plate? You just clean it very gently with water. Rub it very gently, let it dry. Do not let it get hair or anything else on it. I'm going to put this down because we're going to put the jelly plate away. But I do want to get off any residue that's left on here as much as I can, because now what I want to do is we're going to play with just black and white and adding patterns and doing some of that stuff. So, all right. So let me do a quick pull just to clean my jelly plate. And I'll brayer this so that we can try to get as much off as we can. All right, so there's one. And let's do one more just to get it off. Okay. And these ones I will just leave in my bin because I can always gel print over those at another time. Or sometimes I'll put those in my spray boxes. And I can do my glimmer mist or any of that other stuff on there. Okay, so I don't love this one at all. I don't like it. I don't like the colors. It just didn't turn out right. And so we're going to play with this one first, because if we ruin it, I don't really care because I told you I didn't like it. So I'm going to grab my stamper. And before I do that, though, I am going to dry this real quick. I do normally like to let these dry at least for a couple hours. Now, some of you are probably thinking, what do you do with these pages, Rachel? Well, if you're a junk journaler, you can use these as an actual page. That's not an issue at all. Or I like to use these for collage. So you can do a lot of really fun collage or paper weaving. You can turn these into beautiful works of art. Okay. Sorry for that noise, you guys. All right. So I'm just using my mementos Tuxedo Black. And this is just a stamp. It's a Cam and Chloe from Joann's. And I'm not a great stamper, so I know you guys are all freaking out because you're like, oh, what is she doing? Okay, I'm not a stamper. My friend Diane, she's a stamper. She was a professional teacher of stamping and scrapbooking. That's not me. That is not me. All right, so I'm just going to add some texture every which way. And it's, I know you probably can't see it very well. It's not very dark on here. That's okay. The next thing I'm going to do, and when I'm adding my texture, I like to use blacks and whites. You can use whatever you want, but I like to use black and white. Excuse me. And I'm just going to use a cap from my Elmer's glue stick. Okay. And now I'm going to just go on here and I'm just going to do some stamping. And I like to stamp in a triangle format, but you can do it however you want. And remember, what do you think? Are you guys starting to like it? Is it looking any better? Because I surely did not like that first. Even after we did 2 pulls, it was not my favorite. So easy peasy, I'm just using craft paint. Okay, so we've stamped. Sorry for the noise, guys. All right, so we use this size stamper. And I'm going to dry this as well. Oh, no, Diane, you're way better than I am, girlfriend. I quit stamping a long time ago because I couldn't get them straight. That's when I went to my whole mixed media art because I could handle that. Could totally handle that because it didn't have to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist in a whole lot of other ways, but all right. So I'm going to let that dry. We're going to set this one to the side. Let's grab another one, okay? So we're going to grab this one that we did the other work to. And I'm going to, oops, do the same thing. I'm using just the exact same tool on this one because I really like the pattern that's already on here. Now, the other thing you can do is you can cross them. That's fun too. See, and I double stamped there. Totally fine with it. Not freaking out. All right, so we have circles on this one. What I like to do is think about what are some things that I have that and so I have this box. You guys don't see me digging it, but this is my spray box. And in here are just spray pages, but I also have just cardboard tools, paint brushes, leaves. Oh, I have this too. Let's do that. And I just have all kinds of fun, just things that I like to play with when I'm doing mixed media art. What I did is I used all those scissors that I had from scrapbooking years, and I cut my cardboard so I could have these fun edges. Oops. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just add some more texture on here. Nothing too difficult. Anybody can do this. Anybody. All right, let's grab this one. I don't love this with the red on it either now. I'm just going to add some polka dots from the back side of this since I already got paint on it. All right. So now I'm going to take this. It looks kind of like mermaid scales. And I'm going to grab just a little bit of purple. And I'm going to mix it a little bit with the white. And we are going to have some mermaid scales throughout here. Because I don't love that red. And if I don't love the purple, that's okay. We'll change it later. Remember, I said you can add as many layers as you want. And, you know, I have this white edge around here. I can come in here and I can change that by adding some more stencils so that it looks like it's part of the design. Okay, so I'm just coming around and adding stenciling. All right, so we'll leave that one. Here is our red. This was just the one single pull that we did. So on this one, what do we want to do? Let's do some polka dots. And I'm still using that muddy purple paint, even though it's red. And I know you're thinking purple and red, they really don't go together, Rachel. Well, I know they don't go together, but remember, we're layering. So we're going to layer more items over top of it. So it's not going to be a big deal. All I'm doing is adding texture to that background. See that? All right. So I home that you just get them out and see what you can do with them. And the other thing you can do is you can use a magic marker. You can use a Sharpie marker. So you can just draw little pieces, doodles. And I like to stick with basic shapes. And you can really just turn this into something fun. And you guys are like, oh my gosh, Rachel, that looks so ugly. Remember, we're going to go back over it. This is just adding another layer of texture. Just have fun and play with this. I know a lot of you are perfectionists and you want to just have it perfect. Just play with it, because here's the deal, guys. Paint, you can do whatever you want with paint, and you can cover things up. Okay, I'm going to add, pink's my favorite color, so I'm just going to add some of this. You know what? I'm going to use my finger, and I'm just going to add this over some of these spots that I didn't like. And we're going to create a whole new look. Look, I'm able to go right over this. No special tool, just my finger. And this would be so fun to do with grandkids, your kids, just something to be very relaxing. Oh no, is it freezing, Diane? I'm sorry. Hope we're not going to have that problem next weekend. So I'm just coming in and just getting some paint on here. And if you have a glass mat or you have a plastic piece of saran wrap or something like that, you can also put it down on your glass and pick it up. So use all of that paint. Get that all up. Oh, I'm sorry it's freezing. I'm not sure if anybody else is having that problem. Everybody's awful quiet tonight. I think I'm boring everybody. So there is some painty paper. Isn't that pretty? Here's the ones that we did. And this one's going to get more. I'm going to add way more texture to it, but I'm going to let it dry. This one I kind of like as it is. It's got the texture behind it, and if I'm ripping strips or cutting strips, it's going to be beautiful. I like this one how it is. I like that ghost part. I might add some dots or something like that to it. Here's some of the other ones that we did. This one's considered a ghost print. It's very light. This would be a good one to do some stamping on. So let's try to do some stamping on this one. You know what? I have these polka dots too. Let's try these polka dots, see how they turn out. All right. I think my ink pad might be a little bit dry. Diane, with all those stamp pads you have, you could do all kinds of fun. Diane has all kinds of colors. I don't know if she'll have any for us next weekend at the sale, but she's been selling these beautiful stamp pads. And they're practically brand new. A lot of them are brand new. She has some gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Back from the scrapbook time. But for those of you who are mixed media artists or junk journalers, a lot of her stuff could be repurposed into some really cool items for your junk journals. So this is like a gear stamp. So I'm just going to stamp that on there and get some some more texture. Okay, perfect. So she's saying she hopes she's going to have some of her stamp pads ready for us. All right, so I just stamped some gears on there. This one's definitely going to need some white. And I'm trying to think of what I want to do. Okay, I want to show you one more technique, and then I probably will get off because I think I'm boring you all to death. But I'm going to do one more technique, and this is called the string pull technique. Where are my scissors? Okay, they are. All right. So normally I wouldn't use this fancy of string, but it's what I have on my desk. So All right. Let's some more white paint on here. All right, I'm going to add some white paint. I told you I wanted to use up this white paint. All right, so for this, what you're going to do is you're going to get your string full of paint. And yes, you are going to get messy when you do this, but this stuff washes off with soap, you guys. It's no big deal. Okay, so I'm just getting my string full of paint. All right, and then what I'm going to do, and I know it's probably hard for you to see, but I'm just going to kind of lay this on here. All right. And then what I do is I hold, I don't know if it's going to work because this is not usually the string that I use. Yeah, it's not, this isn't usually the type of string I use, and it's awful. Let me try this one more time. Sorry, guys. I usually use more like a yarn, and this is a very stiff string. So let me see if I can get enough paint on it to do it, or I might have to go get something else. All right. Yeah, it's not going to do it. Let me grab some different. Now I'm really a mess. Let me grab some yarn. Okay. Let me throw this away before I get it on my hardwood floor. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to get this all full of paint. And then all you do is just pull that string. And what it will do is it will just create a different, almost one. So we're going to go this way. Well, that did not work out how it was planned. And it has a big glob of paint here. So I'm just using the mop-up page to, look, it created two. All I did is mop up paint on one. I don't know. I do like it better than it was. It's getting there. I might add a little bit of water to that next time. I think my paint is getting kind of thick because it's towards the end. I don't know. It's not bad. It's not bad. So just keep adding, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding. And then what happens is you end up with pieces that you can actually make something out of. So let's do a really quick collage tag, and I'll show you how I use these painty papers. All right. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just a base piece of paper. It's just this right here. So all I did is grab a piece of copy paper. Let's do about a 3-inch tag. Okay, so here's our tag. And I want our tag to be, let's do a 3x6. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to cut my sides. All right, So the next thing I do is I take my painty papers and I play with them. So, for example, just start playing with some of these. All right. So what I do is I just start kind of layering these painting papers on top of each other. And I don't even throw the smallest pieces away because you never know when you might use those. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's use some of this because I love this one. Whoops. Love this one. Okay, so I'm going to grab that glue stick and we're just going to start gluing these down. And I'll just put the glue on my tag base. So I think I want to do this bright pink going up. And I love to stitch, do all kinds of fun things. All right, oops. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. What else can we do? We got all kinds of papers here. Let's do something with this. Purple would look nice in here. Sorry, guys. When I get creating, I sometimes forget to talk. So I apologize. Are we still having buffering issues? All right, there we go. Okay, so we have this tag. And then what I usually do is I just trim it off. And I don't even throw those little bits away because you never know when you might need a little bit. All right, so here's our beautiful collage tag. Now, sometimes what I'll do is I will then take my ink pad and I start building layers on top of this layered piece that I've already done. So now we've created another sort of layered look. All right, so there's our third. So we've got the base paper, we've got our collage, we've stamped over top of it, which is really cool. We could get some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist out if we wanted to. I'm going to come in, I'm going to take a stencil, and I'm going to put this little flower on here. And I'm going to do that by using Vintage Photo from Tim Holtz. It's a distress ink. And it's not going to be extremely dark because our paint is dark, but you are going to be able to see this. Isn't that pretty? And now I'm going to come in. Oh, its internet connection is unstable, guys. So I'm thinking we're having some problems on YouTube. So sorry. All right, so there we go. I've created that. Now I'm going to use another type of paint that is one of my favorites. I use it a lot in my paintings. It is 24 karat gold. But if you have some other type of paint that's gold, you could absolutely use that as well. So I'm just going to come across here and I'm just hitting the edges. It's probably hard for you to see, but I'm just hitting the edges with this beautiful gold paint. You see that? And making this gorgeous, gorgeous tag. And I'm hardly using any. You could use silver. You could use another color. I wish you guys could see the sparkle and shine on this paint. It is unbelievable. Look at that. And then finally, I typically will just leave these as is. Now, if I wanted to, and I might, I'm going to add just a couple. Actually, I'm not even going to use this big circle. I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush. And I'm going to add 3 little white dots on here. All over. And that just gives it a whole another artistic look. You guys, I haven't used anything that you either don't have or you can't make with some cardboard or something. I'm using basic shapes to create this really nice tag. And then on top of it, you can collage, you can add ribbon, you can do whatever you want, but you're going to have this gorgeous little masterpiece when you're done. And it's one of a kind, not something you can remake. So there you go. Well, I hope you guys like this. I'm sorry that we were having some internet issues. I hope everybody can join us at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone next week on Saturday, because we are going to have a live sale right here on Super Cute Creations, and we are going to have giveaways. I know I have some giveaway items. I know Diane has some giveaway items, and we're just going to have a really great time, you guys. We're just going to relax, enjoy our time, and we're going to have some amazing things for sale. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye, guys.